Good evening. My name is Jorge Vialta. I'm 24 years old and I serve on the Bedford-Stuyvesant team for City Year, New York. I'd like to thank Justice Breyer for speaking with us tonight. My question is, if you could change one thing about the Supreme Court that would make it easier for young Americans to follow its work, what would that be? What about broadcasting cases on television or posting podcasts of cases on an internet, on a website that would be accessible to everyone?
We do have a website where they do publish the transcripts of the oral argument, and also some have been broadcast now. We're experimenting with radio broadcasts of oral arguments that are particularly interesting for people, and so far that's worked pretty well. I wouldn't say, I mean, the question of whether we should have a camera in the courtroom is a pretty controversial one. What would be good about it is that more people could see the oral argument. What might be bad about it is that people would begin to think that this oral argument, which is about 1 inch of a 12-foot case, they'd begin to think that was the whole thing. But most of what we do is in writing, and most of what we do has to do with a legal issue, and the legal issue affects 300 million people sometimes. And 299,999,998 are not in that courtroom. But the two people who are in the courtroom are human beings. And a good thing about human beings is we relate to other human beings. Look at your friends around you. You relate to them. Look at somebody you see on television. You relate to them. But our job is to do with a lot of people we don't see. And it matters what happens to those people. And so it might be a little misleading. That's one of the reasons we're nervous about having television in the courtroom. So there are pros and there are cons. And I don't know about that, what'll actually happen. But you asked me what was the most important thing, I think, to get you and your friends and others across the country into this process. The most important thing, I think, would be in high school, in the 11th grade, in the 12th grade, that there used to be, used to have it, I don't know if you still do, it was called 12th grade civics. And when I was in the 12th grade, it was a public school in California, and we used to go, we'd go to see the courts, we'd go to see some of our public officials, we'd go up to Sacramento, and we'd go see the legislature in session. So it's that teaching of what the Constitution is about, and more important, what's going on in your own city. What's going on right there at the city council. What's going on right there at the state legislature and in the courts. There's lots of people to visit. There are lots of things to see, and I'd love to have that taught always, everywhere, in the United States in an organized way, so you and those a little younger than you will systematically learn about what their government's like.